Oh, yeah, Scott, this is great.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, this is fantastic. Oh, no, that's not him. That's his buddy. But, yes, there's Trent Reznor in the band. With this is fantastic. How did I not know this?
I don't know.
Welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast. Coming at ya from the local 218 studios. I am Mayor Dave Badeaux of the city of Brainerd, and with me, as always, is my brother.
I ate absolute shit.
Well, see you later.
Yes, indeedy do. Gabriel Johnson, how are you?
Dave, I'm a little bit hot today. Not gonna lie, a little warm.
A little warm, weather-wise.
Weather-wise.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it got warm here in the wonderful state of Minnesota, as well as pretty much everywhere else in the center of the entire United States. Yeah, a little sweaty, but it's not bad. Not bad. Got to watch some baseball.
Yeah, reminds me of the summer of '94.
Speaking of, should we just get started? Let's do it. This is the Be Kind Rewind, 1994. As always, we get started with music from the wonderful year that was. For those of you that may not be familiar, the Be Kind Rewind is a episode of the podcast where we go back and take a look at individual years. We've actually started separating the movies from the rest of the year, just because it gets to the point where there's just too many movies to talk about, and it's almost its own separate entire episode, which we've decided that is the case, especially because 1994 is the year of Jim Carrey and the year of a lot of fantastic movies. So stay tuned for next week when we'll get to those movies. But let's go ahead and let's get started on music. What do we have from 1994 in terms of the soundtrack of our lives that is 1994?
The butterfly, that's all. Let me see the Tootsie Roll.
Green Day's Dookie was released in 1994.
Excellent album. The first compact disc I ever owned.
Oh, really? First compact disc.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that had the cassette because cassettes were still big in 94. I also owned Dookie, one of the very first albums that I had on compact disc. And
One of the first albums I owned on compact disc, too.
that Scott Badeaux stole from me. And then, Scott, you were probably the biggest Green Day fan that I have ever met.
Loved them. Absolutely loved them growing up.
Yeah.
Favorite band.
Yes, and you absolutely stole my CD and then just...
CDs.
Sure.
You had an entire...
It was a whole collection. I still.
Well, we haven't talked about this. I think we talked about this previously on the podcast, but not for a while. I had Columbia House. There was Columbia House and there was BMG, which you could send in for, you pay the 1 penny for X amount of CDs or cassettes, and then you had to just buy like 7 more through the next however many years. Well, I decided as a kid to just sign up like 7 times. So I had things coming to my house under the name of James Hetfield and like other rock bands. And so I had a huge collection of CDs until the day that my mom got the list, when they became wise that all these things were coming to 2 houses next door to each other, because it was our house and our grandma's house. And my mom picked up the list and it just fell down like the Christmas list, the naughty list. And then, yeah, my mom was very, very upset with me about that, because we evidently owed we had to buy a bunch of CDs.
Every time you signed up, it was like a $150 bill.
It pretty much was. However, she sent a thing to them saying, the kid's 16 years old, you can't have him under contract, and James Hetfield doesn't live here. So, so I had all the Green Day albums, and you stole them all from me.
Every last one.
Favorite song from Dookie?
Oh, let's see.
Yeah, pull them up.
I mean, Longview, When I Come Around.
Yep.
Obviously, Basket Case, Welcome to Paradise. Those are the 4 big ones. I don't know. The way this, what's the song that comes before Dookie? The way Chump rolls in.
Okay.
Sorry, not Dookie. Longview. The way that Chump rolls into Longview is fabulous.
Okay.
It was my first experience with two songs becoming one.
It can't be, because everyone that's ever heard the Queen song "We Are the Champions" knows that, or "We Will Rock You"
Yes.
turns into "We Are the Champions," which is just two completely separate songs. Stop at radio, stop playing them back to back. But yeah, actually, I remember it being one of the first albums that was just great to just pop in and just go. And yeah, I would say When I Come Around, Welcome to Paradise, Basket Case, all just phenomenal songs.
Yeah, and there's a hidden track at the end that the drummer sings.
Yes.
That's a good listen as well.
Yes,
Nice
yes.
and gentle.
Gabe, favorite Dookie song?
You know, I bought the album for Basket Case, but probably now I would go with probably Welcome to Paradise.
Okay, yeah.
Welcome to paradise.
I like it. When I Come Around is very high up there for me as well. The other album that I think goes hand in hand with that and is also one of those that you just pop in and continue to listen to is Weezer Blue Album.
Yes.
So I, on repeat, was listening to Buddy Holly, and then eventually realized there are way better songs on that on that album than that. But I bought the album because of Buddy Holly. And then I just liked that, like the music video that they had for it, because this is also right in the middle of when music videos were really cool and they were doing interesting things with it. They had a Happy Days thing going for that. But also just because I want to say it was, what is that, like sixth grade we would have been in, you and I?
Well, the Happy Days was Buddy Holly, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Buddy Holly. But just that time frame was when I was realizing that like music isn't just the song that, you know, like I like that song, so I bought the album. But now I'm like realizing, hey, these are really good albums. There's tons of other music on there. Talk about Weezer Blue Album. Let's go.
It was blue.
Yes, it was blue. Better than the Green Album. They tried, coming back around, and it's not bad. But favorite song after the Blue Album? Go.
Probably either My Name is Jonas.
Yes.
That song as a guitar player, it's just a lot of fun to play. Amazing. A lot of fun to play, especially the kind of sort of solo that happens at the end. Or Surf Wax America.
Yes.
I really like Surf Wax America.
Yes. Gabe, you got one?
Yeah, I'd say My Name is Jonas or Say It Ain't So.
Say It Ain't So is one of my all-time favorite songs.
Yeah.
I went to a Deftones concert in like the early 2000s. And they played Say It Ain't So, and it was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life.
The Deftones.
The Deftones
Say It Ain't So.
Say It Ain't So, and it was awesome. Say It Ain't So is one of my all-time favorite songs. My Name is Jonas is just such a great way to start off an album. I have always been a fan of, is it called Garage Song? Or is it just
In the Garage?
In the Garage, yeah.
In the Garage.
I just love that song for some reason. I don't know why.
Is that about playing D&D?
Well, it's basically about being in their garage. It's kind of, it's like a,
You don't
Weird.
say.
it's called In the Garage. And I don't know if you know this or not, but
They're a garage.
it goes without saying. But yeah, he talks about having D&D in there, and he's got posters on the wall. His favorite rock band, Kiss, literally the lyrics of the song. I just love it. I love that song a lot. Cool. Yeah. Anything else from either one of those two bands?
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
No.
In regards to 1994
Yeah, in
or
terms
just
of
in general?
yeah,
we could talk about, you mentioned the Green Album. The Green
Yeah.
Album sucks.
Yeah, I mean,
It was my first Weezer album that I ever owned.
oh really?
Yeah, I think I may have bought that one. Did you ever own it?
I don't remember. I think so, probably, because there was Hash Pipe that was on there that was okay. Yeah. I will say this: my least favorite Weezer song is, what is it? Holiday.
Island in the Sun.
Yes, Island in the Sun. Oh my God! I just
Gonna have a bad time.
There are only a handful of songs that I fucking despise, and I fucking despise that song. What else we got for music from '94? Let's wrap this baby up.
Yeah, 1994.
I didn't bring any, Dave.
Thanks for coming, Scotty. What do you got? You got another one? Because I got two here.
Well, why don't you go?
Okay, so the two that I have was Beck. Hello Gold is the album. Loser is the song.
Is it Mellow Gold?
Is it? It says Hello Gold here. It's probably Mellow Gold.
It's definitely Mellow Gold.
Hey, so it is Beck Mellow Gold. But Loser, of course.
Yes.
Turns out he doesn't like that song. Turns out he didn't think it was a very good song. It was a huge freaking hit. I freaking loved it.
He rocked it on his 2 turntables and his microphone.
My introduction to Beck, who I actually really enjoy. The one that I have here, though, is 9 Inch Nails' The Downward Spiral, which was not their first album. I believe their first album is Pretty Hate Machine, but a completely different change in where they're headed. It got way heavier, way darker. I will say that this band in particular, a lot of depression happening in the 90s with late 90s kids. And for me, Downward Spiral was definitely like, hey, thanks for taking me on that trip.
You delivered exactly what you wrote on the package.
Thanks for taking me down that road. I love it. I really do. There's some really cool instrumental stuff, but like Closer to God, songs like that, very heavy, very cool. But at the same time, like, man, like you wonder why we were all depressed. All of us kids were depressed.
That album has the song "Hurt" on it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Which Johnny Cash took and blew it out of the water.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it really is right there in the title.
Gonna have a bad time.
So, yeah. Do you got anything else to wrap us up on that? I did have one that I wanted to mention just because, and I think it's 94, but I'm not 100% sure, but the band Blur has the song Boys Who Like Girls, Who Like Girls, Who Like Boys, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And that was like a hit in like 94. Nobody, at least in my world, correlated the two together because everyone knows Blur Song 2 from the late 90s. But almost nobody that I knew of made the correlation that was the same band.
How many people do you think don't know that guy is the Gorillaz?
That's where I was hoping you were going to go with this, because then you go from that song through song 2, and then that is the Gorillaz.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. So just what a weird transformation from that initial song through song 2 and then being the actual Gorillaz, because it's just him and one other guy, really. It's him and the DJ or the God, I forget what the guy's name is.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I mean
that is Blur, or that is the Gorillaz, or both?
That is the Gorillaz. It was those two coming together, and I believe there's a couple other individuals in there as well, but it was mainly those two coming together to form the Gorillaz. Which, yeah. Well, there's a reason why you don't know that, though, because like the whole point of the Gorillaz was to not be a real band, essentially. Yeah. Which, same thing with 9 Inch Nails. 9 Inch Nails was Trent Reznor doing all the music, and then there was 9 Inch Nails that actually toured. So
didn't Trent Reznor play in a pop band before he was in the 9 Inch Nails?
I don't know. That'd be interesting.
I'm pretty sure there's a video of Trent Reznor playing it with like a pop band, and he's like playing the keyboard, and he looks like Trent Reznor playing with like the Backstreet Boys or so. He's just back in the shadows.
Looking it up right now. In Slam Bamboo, it says here. Trent Reznor in Slam Bamboo. Yeah, oh my God, he looks like he's somebody straight out of Flock of Seagulls, or
nice.
like that 80s. He's got a skinny tie and what appears to be smoking. Oh yeah, Scott, this is great.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is fantastic. Oh no, that's not him. That's his buddy. But yes, there's Trent Reznor in the band. This is fantastic. How did I not know this?
I don't know.
All right. Anything else from music? We do have.
I mean, Illmatic.
Okay.
It came out with the Beastie Boys.
Yes.
Nirvana's Unplugged.
Yes.
Released in 94.
Which led to him also committing suicide in 1994. We should probably bring that up.
I'm pretty sure Courtney Love shot him.
Well, yes. I think it's the likelihood that she didn't shoot him is less than the likelihood that
I've never really delved into this at all.
There's a really good little documentary. HBO, I believe, had it for a while.
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
Yeah, that talks about it. There's just a lot of weird.
He's a weird dude.
He was a weird dude, but there was some weirdness too of, and I don't want to get into like shotguns and toes and stuff like that. I
Well,
don't really want to get into that.
Shotguns are longer than this.
Yes. Then Gabe is reaching his arm out. Yes, shotguns are longer
So
than.
how did you shoot yourself in the face with a shotgun?
Well,
A stick? Anything you just pull the trigger. Like, I'm sure you could figure it
You
out.
disproved the theory. All right.
Ass stick.
and somebody go check the crime scene and see if there's. Yeah. Anyways, we've talked about Nirvana before though, but yeah, that was and what a weird event to like. Here's this band that is at the top, and then takes his own life. Yeah. All right, let's move on. I think we've done music enough justice, so let's move on to the next category. What do you guys want to talk about next?
What do you want to do? TV, video games?
We could do either one. I'm game for whichever one.
We
I'm
just
game.
covered a death. I got another death.
Okay, let's go death.
Yes.
All right. So Jeffrey Dahmer died.
So I'm going to give the audience a heads up here. Gabe has come prepared with one thing, and it is just basically He's going to do dramatic readings of
Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald jokes from Weekend Update because this was the first year that Norm Macdonald.
These are Norm Macdonald's actual jokes from 1994. I'm not making anything up. Well, Jeffrey Dahmer's relatives are apparently fighting over what to do with his body. Yeah, some want to have sex with it. The rest want to put it in the fridge.
Oh my goodness.
That tells you everything you need to know. 1994.
Did that air on TV?
Oh yeah. They were pretty. The Saturday Night Live at that time frame was really brutal. But the reason why Norm Macdonald got fired from Weekend Update was because he would not stop doing jokes about OJ, which we will talk about. We might as well talk about OJ next because I'm sure you got a joke about it.
I might.
But the owner of NBC was a friend with OJ and basically said, if you do not stop doing OJ jokes, you're done. Mm-hmm. And he continued to do OJ jokes.
And then after he got fired, did the
ESPYs.
Did the ESPYs and continued to do OJ jokes.
Unless you kill your ex-wife in a waiter, then all bets are off.
Anyway, so yes, Dahmer died. Dahmer was killed in prison. And the guy that killed him killed another guy at the same time. I guess they were killed in the gymnasium. Mm-hmm. Just and nothing about that sounds fun.
No.
Murder?
Dahmer? Anything happening with Dahmer?
I mean, the Norm jokes were pretty good time.
I enjoyed that. We did have other deaths. Let's stick with deaths for a minute because we had John Candy died. You guys know John Candy, one of my all-time favorites. We don't need to get into it too much because we've done a lot on him, but huge John Candy fan. Bill Hicks is another person that died of cancer. Bill Hicks is one of the comedians that I love a ton. And really, for me, because it goes back into music, he was actually, somebody said that I believe he opened for Tool on tour a couple times.
Really?
Or at least multiple times. That may be incorrect, but he's definitely on the album. They have
They have his little monologue of sorts about a young man on acid is in one of the Tool songs.
I think he actually is on one of the covers too, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, Bill Hicks died of cancer. It's really interesting.
I'm gonna go out and say it. Bill Hicks ain't that funny.
You don't think Bill Hicks is that funny?
I think he's a good communicator.
Okay.
and whatever, but not a lot for jokes in there.
Okay, so here's what I like about Bill Hicks. I like Bill Hicks would be huge right now in the small clip video world that we live in, the social media, because he was more of social commentary.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And he was very angry. I think once he found out that he had cancer, he was very angry with the world and basically like, I don't have time for this bullshit. That's what I liked about him. I like the ability to just be pissed off and somehow find a laugh in there. I enjoy that. So I would have thought you were a fan of Bill.
I am a
Hicks.
fan. I just don't think he's that funny.
The one thing that he
I
does,
love this comedian.
I like
Just-
listening to him
he's not-
talk.
Sure,
But
sure.
rarely will I laugh while I listen to what he has to say.
Okay. See, I would have thought he would. I think he would be a great podcaster. I think he would be great.
I think so, too.
Yeah, I think he would be great in today's world.
I think he's very similar to like Christopher Hitchens,
Okay.
but I think Christopher Hitchens, who is not a comedian, is funnier.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, he died.
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay, so and then I mean, we might as well talk about this as well. Talking about deaths, Ron Goldman, didn't make
Who?
it.
He's a waiter down in L.A.
Yeah, it's just a guy that got murdered.
I see.
He's just trying to bang a girl.
What happened to the girl?
Also murdered.
Her ex-husband killed her.
Well, if he did it, he would have done it exactly this way. So let's go with it. This is the year 1994. This is the year of OJ. This is the year with the white Bronco. Crazy event.
It was in the news every single day for a year.
Probably longer
The
than
White
a
Bronco
year.
chase was in June of 94. The trial didn't wrap up until October of 95.
Okay.
And there was still even stuff after that, like the civil trials and
though.
everything.
That's fast for a murder trial to be done a year later. That seems really fast. Now you can't even, get in for a parking ticket in, at least 9 months.
Yeah.
Crazy. So yeah, the white Bronco happens. That basically just stopped everything that was going on in life.
Well, I've heard some people say that was like the start of the 24-hour news cycle.
That
And that's
could
where
be.
Yeah.
Fox News and the MSNBCs and CNNs of the world came and destroyed society.
Yeah,
Yes.
So that was during the summer, but then the OJ trial, we watched that in class in school, the OJ verdict. We watched it on the televisions in school, the actual OJ verdict, which is such a weird thing to think about that, we stopped our education to see if
The
a
whole
man
world stopped to watch that.
to see if a man was or was not convicted of murdering 2 people. Yeah, crazy. And what does Norm Macdonald have to say about
Norm
it?
Macdonald's first weekend on the update desk was October. So he said, according to retailers, the most popular Halloween mask this year is O.J. Simpson. And the most popular Halloween greeting is, I'll kill you and that guy who's bringing over your glasses or treat.
All right, so O.J. Simpson probably killed his wife and a waiter. It probably is an understatement. Killed his wife and a waiter. So, speaking of Friends, do you want to just move into television?
Did anyone speak of Friends?
He said the friend.
Okay, and a friend. All right.
Let's go into television then. What do you guys got for television? I mean, I said Friends. Do we want to toss out Friends real quick?
Yeah, NBC launched Friends in 94.
I think it's really weird the amount of backlash that the next generation is giving to Friends now, because I don't think it is now it's getting partially it's mainly just because it's just a whole white cast, right? The whole idea of that. But I don't think that it's a not funny show. I think that there are some actually legitly humorous bits from that show.
It's a very funny show.
Yeah. It's different. It was a different time frame. It was 1994 to whatever, 2000 and God, how long do you think that went? I don't
10 seasons?
10 for sure.
2002?
Yeah, 10 maybe 12. Yeah. But yeah, different time frame. 1994 is a totally different time frame.
Yeah, and I've been back watching Seinfeld lately, and just the 90s
Yes.
and even the 80s, Cheers and stuff, laugh tracks.
Yes.
I mean, in recent years, we've gotten rid of laugh tracks, so you can decide when you want to laugh when you're
Yes.
watching something
Yes.
funny, and it's much more enjoyable.
I will agree to that too, because I actually tend to laugh later than the joke is. Not that I didn't get it, but just that I myself, my brain goes, was that funny?
Yeah.
It was funny.
I
Laugh.
have to break it down.
Yes.
Break
Yeah.
down all the components of this joke.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
Ha ha.
I see what you've done there, sir, and I laugh. But there was a couple really funny bits, like right out the gate. There's one that stuck out. My ex-wife was big into Friends, and that's when like DVDs became a big thing at the end of the 90s. So she had all the DVDs, and we went back and watched all the Friends. I will say this, like as a young husband in the early 2000s, Friends was not a bad thing to watch with your wife. It's not. It was just as a male going back, it was like, yes, we can watch that. I will watch that with you. And I remember multiple funny bits that I really enjoyed. Obviously the pivot with the couch, which is in a few later seasons. But right off the gate, there's one where they have the monkey, which is only in like I think the first season, but Ross has a monkey and he eats the letters from Scrabble. And I can't remember what letters he eats, but the joke is we think he was trying to spell monkey. That's just a good bit. That's just a good bit. So stop giving Friends so much hate. I think it doesn't deserve as much hate.
I've never seen an episode.
Really?
Yeah.
I will hand it to him. Like my ex-wife enjoyed that. She enjoyed Charmed, which I was not into Charmed. But she also liked Sex in the City. And I'll watch some titties. So Sex in the City can be on. We'll watch titties. But Friends, it was like, yeah, you can turn the Friends on. That's fine.
I thought you said those jokes were funny. Joke.
Joe,
Yeah, I mean, it is a sitcom.
Yes.
And it does have very sentimental moments
Yeah.
from time to time.
Yeah.
But it's a genuinely funny show.
Yeah, not bad. I appreciate it.
Yeah, maybe I'll give it a watch.
Yeah. The other one that went back to back with that was ER. You guys watch ER at all?
Never.
I think I saw one episode.
I don't know. Like that was one where when I pulled it up, I was like, man, I wonder if that's something I could pull back up and actually sit through a little bit of. I don't think I could do it. I don't think there's anything happening on ER that I need to revisit.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't know. The only medical type show I've ever watched is House.
Oh,
Or I guess Scrubs too. But
Scrubs is good. Yeah, but that's not really medical. That's like medical adjacent.
yes.
My current fiance loves Grey's Anatomy and has watched it like 7 times. She's constantly watching it. Sorry, ladies, I hate that fucking show. It is such goddamn nonsense. It's just a bunch of people fucking in closets. That's all that show is. And then getting mad that they fucked the other. Like, you were already fucking him in a closet. How are you surprised that he's fucking in another closet? It's literally all that show is. I assume that ER is just people fucking in closets.
Right.
George Clooney in closets.
Well, if we're gonna watch somebody get fucked in a closet, might as well be George Clooney. Moving on. Give me a show.
Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
That's an
debuted
interesting
in 1994, and it shaped my sense of humor to this day.
So Comedy Central prior to Adult Swim. This was
Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network. I'm sorry, Cartoon Network. Prior to Adult Swim, this was kind of the start of that whole idea.
This started Adult Swim. This was Adult Swim before Adult Swim. It was Williamsburg Street is the company.
Yep.
And they went on to produce like all the Adult Swim shows that you watched. It's just. Did you ever watch it?
I did watch it. I didn't watch it. It reminded me of Conan a lot. It was very similar to Conan, which is why I'm not surprised that you enjoyed it because it's literally the same type of shit, right?
Silly nonsense fake interview show with a C-list cartoon superhero.
Yeah, and it was the start of
Sign me up.
Well, it was the start of that concept as well of taking these old like Hanna-Barbera cartoons and these old cartoons that were never going to get used again and taking the characters, clipping them out and reanimating them to do what you wanted them to do.
Yeah.
And then in this case, why wouldn't we make them have a
It was my first introduction. Sure. It was my introduction to meta humor.
Yes.
Because I didn't get to watch The Simpsons, I guess.
Yeah. We weren't Simpsons people. We weren't allowed to be Simpsons people. And it started off that whole thing with then. So now you have Archer, obviously.
Yeah. So
but you
and
go
actually,
back, you bring that back.
That is where Adam Reed's first writing credit is with Space Ghost Coast to Coast. And he made Archer. And before he made Archer, he made the far superior show Frisky Dingo.
Frisky Dingo. So it went C-Lab 2021.
C-Lab 2021, which was
was
big time old Hanna-Barbera crap.
took a show called C-Lab 2020 and then repurposed all the animations and made a show out of it, which I think is hilarious. The idea of taking something and just going, no, we're going to make a completely different show out of it, which always ended with the C-Lab blowing up, which I really enjoyed. It was always for some reason the C-Lab blew up, and then he went to, I believe it was Frisky Dingo, correct?
Yep.
Then Archer.
And then Archer.
Yeah. So I'm all on board for all of that.
Yeah, and in the same vein, the cartoon The Tick
Yes.
debuted in 1994, and that was kind of the same thing, just the meta superhero who knows he's a superhero in a TV show
Yes.
type thing, and that made me who I am today. That led to the show The Venture Brothers, which is my favorite thing on the planet.
And you had just sent me a text that the Venture Brothers now has its
series finale on Amazon Prime. If you've never watched it, don't just watch the series finale.
It's a great show.
It is quite literally my favorite thing on the planet. I like that show more than I like my brother.
This brother? No, your other brother. You more than Rick, yeah. More than me.
He's married too. Like he chose to spend his life with somebody, but takes a second seat.
I'm
TV show.
disappointed because I mean I like that show, but I like you better than I like that show. What a fucking dick.
Well, then you don't like that show enough.
Okay.
Go Team Venture!
I don't know. They just do that.
Gabe, what do you got? Do you have anything for TV at all?
I've been sharing.
Again, Gabe brought one thing. And that is jokes from a TV show.
Norm Macdonald debuted on Weekend Update in 1994.
1994. One of my favorite years for SNL. I was a big fan of the early 90s and then that transition period. I actually really like the Norm Macdonald Weekend Update, but a lot of the other the transition into Will Ferrell in that group. Because I was 15 years old when the good stuff was coming in my eyes, which a lot of people would say was not the good stuff.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't like Chris Kattan or Will Ferrell, but 15-year-old boys like Chris Kattan and Will Ferrell.
I liked Chris Kattan, then I got over Chris Kattan, but I liked that you could tell that a lot of people on that show did not like Chris Kattan, and that made it more fun for me. All right, so I've got two things for television. You had brought up The Tick real quick. We'll just give a shout out to The Tick. Same thing, meta, all that nonsense.
Yes.
But in my research, I found out that there was a thing called the Martin Short Show. And it was
short-lived.
Not on any list that I saw.
It was very short. They had all these episodes. I believe they had 8 episodes that have names. They shot, I believe, 5 episodes. They aired 3 episodes. So it went 3 weeks, and they're like, you know what? I think we're done here.
We're going to cut this one short.
I wanted to bring it up because episode 2 is called The Steve Martin Show. That's the name of the episode.
Of course it is.
So that's the only reason I wanted to bring it up was the Martin Short Show was very short. And also, the episode 2 was the Steve Martin Show, evidently. Eugene Levy was directed it. I believe a couple of those episodes was big involved, but it didn't go anywhere. Okay, but the one I have for television is this. Scott, in 1992, you had brought up the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
From wonderful WWF at the time, WWE now. I pulled up 1994, and a certain thing called the Survivor Series showed up. And this
What's that?
So evidently, and at this point, it was basically the night before Thanksgiving. They would have this. I'm sure it was a pay-per-view, but it was Survivor Series, right? So it's just an episode of WWF, and we will call it an episode because this one in particular was The Undertaker versus Yokozuna. And
Yokozuna, is that the
big guy?
Big guy?
That's so The Undertaker. At this point, he's at least kind of his outfit is kind of improving. But when the Undertaker started, it looked like you went and got the costume off the shelf at
Hot Topic,
or like
Spencer's
Halloween Town. It has the thing where it has the booty covers, like not the booty, the boots, where you've got that thing that goes over your shoe to make it look like a boot.
Oh.
Like his outfit started with that and then just ripped sleeves. Okay. Evidently during the Royal Rumble in 1994, a bunch of people rushed the stage and 10 people helped Yokozuna put the Undertaker into a casket.
Oh my
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable. So the entire premise of this entire episode of WWF is that the Undertaker has now risen, and because there's this big, huge moment where he's coming back, I guess. Whatever.
Back from the dead.
Essentially.
Because if you are put into a coffin,
You are
dead.
You are dead.
Dead. We know this. Okay. So the Undertaker keeps doing all these promos where he's building this giant ass coffin because Yokozuna is 600 pounds. Okay.
So he's building.
He's a giant. You think I'm joking? This is a coffin the size of 2 sofas. It is a giant fucking coffin. So this starts, and the Undertaker rolls down this giant coffin to the stage. The entire premise of this battle is you got to get the guy into the coffin, and you got to slam the door shut. So if you can imagine a 600-pound guy versus another guy, it's not a lot of high-flying action, but there's a lot of the dude's in the coffin, and his hand comes at the last second to catch.
No.
Stop the door. Oh.
Yes. However, because of what
Like kicking out of the pin, but just stopping the...
the massive plywood freaking coffin that they painted black. Because of the shenanigans that happened at the Royal Rumble, they have gotten someone to come to ringside to ensure that no more shenanigans come. And in true 1994 fashion, Chuck Norris, Walker, Texas Ranger himself, stands on the sideline
To make sure 10 dudes don't rush
making sure 10 dudes don't rush the stage. Various levels of dudes come down. Finally, Chuck Norris kicks a guy in the face. Saves the day. And of course, spoiler alert for the 1994 Survivor Series, Yokozuna is slammed into the coffin and the thing is shut.
Taken under.
And then there is the most awkward shot of 2 dudes trying to wheel a 600-pound
That's
dude.
what I was going to say. What did they do with it after they got him in there?
There's 2 guys trying to push this 600-pound guy back up on this shittily made coffin, back up a ramp, and it is exactly what it looks like. It's just one dude just going, and it's not like they got other wrestlers, which would have been the way to do
Sure.
it. Come get the guys on the steroids to do it, not the stagehand that you had fixing the carpet in the middle.
The Undertaker doesn't have a posse. He's a solo act.
No, this was Yokozuna's party taking him away. Well, he's dead now. I don't know if you know this or not, but he's in the
Deceased.
coffin. Anyways, Survivor Series. I think we should do every once in a while a WWF update because we're also getting very close to WCW and the NWO stuff, which I think is a lot of fun.
Now, there is no question Chuck Norris is an awesome individual.
Sticking with sports real quick, what do you got also from sports?
Major League Baseball did not play the World Series that year. They went on strike halfway through the season and never came to an agreement and made everybody our age like basketball.
Yep, basketball was a big deal, but of course that's the year that Michael Jordan decided
to ride the bus.
And I'm going to pick the game that is not going to be played. Which I think there's a lot to be said that Michael Jordan probably would have been a pretty good baseball player had he stuck with it and had he continued. I think there's a lot of evidence that he was doing
by all accounts, he was a pretty decent athlete all around.
Yeah, fairly good at things. However, because of that, there's the gulf where now some other teams get an opportunity because Jordan is not around. So now your Knicks get an opportunity. Your Hakeem Olajuwons get their opportunity. In my case here, I have Shaquille O'Neal. He's starting to get his opportunity. I wrote down Shaquille O'Neal and then Pepsi Big Slam. Do you remember the Pepsi Big Slam?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, that stuck out to me in 1994. Pepsi was like, you know what? We got these 20 ounces, but what if we did a 1-liter bottle and we made the mouth of the bottle so large that you can't actually drink it, call it a Big Slam.
Yep.
And
it was like 24 ounces, wasn't it?
No, I think it was a full liter.
Yeah.
I think it was a full
Liter
liter
of cola
with a giant ass opening. But yeah, do you got anything else for basketball or anything?
No, I don't. It was fun couple years for Hakeem Olajuwon, though. He was an all-time great.
He was. I will say this, that for that year, the Knicks ended up playing the Rockets in the NBA Finals. I watched the very beginning of that, and they missed 5 shots in a row. And then a guy makes one free throw, and then they miss another shot, and then miss another shot. And I was like, you know what? I think basketball is better when Michael Jordan was playing.
Fun fact, Game 5 was taking place when O.J. Simpson's slow speed chase was taking place in Los Angeles. So it was actually a split screen on NBC, a basketball game over here, and cops slowly following O.J. Simpson around over here.
And the following O.J. Simpson was more impressive and fun to watch.
It was. 96 million people tuned in for that.
That's freaking great. All right, let's wrap up here.
I got one more thing for sports.
Okay,
Yeah.
what do you got?
The Stanley Cup Finals.
Okay.
The New York Rangers won it in 7 games over the Vancouver Canucks.
Okay.
Thus setting off a chain of events where a team from the United States would win 30 consecutive Stanley Cups. Canada has not won it since 1993.
Wow.
Each Canada.
Really? Hell yeah.
And the Canucks aren't even around anymore, are they?
The Canucks are still around.
Oh, they are still around. Which one is gone now?
Well,
They
Winnipeg
just-
left and then came back.
Yeah, so Winnipeg now has the Jets.
Yeah.
Which, get the hell out of here.
No, they've got plenty of teams in Canada. It's not that they can't
No, I'm not
compete.
saying
It's
that.
that Canada is uncompetitive.
Yeah, except they beat us every year in the
Olympics.
World Championships.
Yeah, they get the guys who play for the Tampa Bay Lightning on their team.
That's fair.
Or do the Tampa Bay Lightning get Canadians?
That's the way to do it. Well, if you lived in Canada your whole life, Tampa Bay is a pretty good place to move to.
I hear it's sunny.
You say I can still play hockey? I can still play hockey, huh? But then I can go jump on a boat?
I don't have to live in Calgary.
On a boot? Yeah, I don't have to live in Calgary. All right, let's wrap things up with video games. You got anything, Scott, from video games? I know this is kind of a fun one.
Oh, lots of great. I mean, Super Nintendo last couple years of that before, because I think
Yes.
the PlayStation releases in 95.
95, yep.
And then the 64 shortly after that. But obviously, like Donkey Kong Country,
Yo.
1994, Super Metroid,
Yo.
the Lion King video game,
Not a bad game.
that everybody played and never got past the third level.
No, the not a bad game, but not a good game.
One of your favorite games of all time, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Turbo, yes. I am a huge fan of Super Street Fighter 2 with the new challengers. Once he threw in Cammy and DJ, and now I'm going to forget Fei Long. Who's the other one I'm forgetting? There's one other one.
He was the worst.
There's 4. I'm forgetting one. Freaking, I don't know. I actually don't know who the 4th challenger is. Anyways, great game. Love it.
Yeah, and the greatest video game of all time.
Yes.
Final Fantasy VI.
Final Fantasy VI, you say, is the greatest video game of all time. I argue it is not. Go.
I argue that it is.
solid arguments.
Great content.
Nerd alert!
The golden age of 2D RPGs.
Yes.
Squaresoft had done Final Fantasy 4, 2 in the US.
My favorite
Secret
game.
of Mana. How many others would they? Chrono Trigger.
Yes.
Which I think is probably next
95,
in 95.
yeah. Yep.
But Final Fantasy VI is it's just a perfect game.
It's a good
It's
game.
a perfect game. All the characters are great. Huge cast. There is no main character.
No.
Because it's just an ensemble cast.
Bullshit.
You are fighting against an empire, and halfway through the game, the emperor is killed by his. Well, spoiler alert.
Yep.
Killed by his underling, and
By
then
his underling.
and then the world is destroyed. You lose halfway through the game. The world crumbles and falls apart. All your whole team is scattered across the globe.
And then much like 1994, you spend all the rest of the game in depression and just fight to try and get out of depression.
It is despair. Halfway through the game, horror and despair. And what's left for you but hope, Dave? There's only hope.
I'll give you this. There's some really cool moments in it. The main villain in that game is essentially very similar to the Joker.
He is the Joker.
He's
chaotic evil, if you want to go that route.
He's referred to as like the Clown Prince as well, just the same way. Dresses like a clown. At one point murders an entire kingdom by poisoning the water, which,
war crimes.
Yeah, kills a guy's wife and family. It's tragic. Don't get me wrong. However, there are way too many goddamn characters in that game. It is so fucking long. It just drags on and on and on. And it's just fucking depressing. Every time I try to play that game, I lose interest. It's great. It's always listed as people's favorite video game. It's got a great story. I get that. However,
the music,
it's great. It's great. You were listening to the soundtrack of Final Fantasy IV and I believe 6 as well. And then your wife at the pizza restaurant was like, "Oh, I like this." It's like, yeah, it's very good. But I argue not.
Yes, I listen to a lot of video game music. In particular, Final Fantasy, Nobuo Uematsu, the Final Fantasy composer up through the early 2000s, probably my favorite musician, my musical artist of all time.
It is very weird because I will agree to you that it's very, it's like listening to a score from a movie.
Yeah.
But there's just something about it that is very, very emotional.
It's emotional and it's thematic.
Yes.
Every song plays its role the way it needs to be played. And it's just the best.
Sounds like quite a journey.
Absolutely.
I don't typically let us get this nerdy, but I'll allow this because I know it is your all-time favorite game. I just disagree. I like it, but I just tried to play it again just recently with the Pixel remaster that is on Switch, and I lost interest again. I just always lose interest in that game, so I can't put it as high as you do.
I mean, that tends to happen with any game that takes 30 hours to complete.
Yeah, but let's just keep it moving here a little bit. Anyways, I will say this though. I thought you were going down a snarky road of best video game ever because it included in our deaths category is Raul Julia.
Oh, well, we already talked about Street Fighter.
Yeah, but you didn't talk about Street Fighter the movie, the game.
Because nobody gives a shit.
It's literally the name. The name of the video game is Street Fighter, which is a game.
That became a movie.
That became a movie. So you got to throw that in the title, Street Fighter the movie. But then we made a video game based off of the movie, so it is Street Fighter the movie, the game.
The game, the movie, the game. And
it is awful. But this is during the time.
Yeah, why not just package Street Fighter in there?
Oh, how about just go Street Fighter, Street Fighter M or something weird like that. This is during the time frame when you're in the middle of like the Street Fighter craze, which then bled into the Mortal Kombat, which was taking pictures of people and digitizing it, which this is what I love about, and I've got a game that's going to follow this as well. But there's this snapshot in the mid 90s where people realized, oh, you can just take a picture of someone and cut out the background of them digitally, and then that is your sprite that we're going to use on the TV. So same thing with Donkey Kong Country. They took 3D renders and then cut them out and then used that as basically it's like a flip book, essentially, how you animate it. But the thing I love about it is that the people that they had doing this often were just like their friends or like someone in the office. So like the voices, the sound effects are always just like, yeah, that's Bob from accounting. that's going, ugh. Hey, quick, put a rag around his face and we'll call him ninjutsu. But Street Fighter, the movie, the game, is awful. However, there is another game that came out in 1994 that is even worse because it never actually fully got released, but it was put into arcades as some test cabinets, and it is referred to as Tattoo Assassins.
Yes.
So Tattoo Assassins is if Mortal Kombat was a bunch of people that had tattoos, that the tattoos came to life and attacked you in a fighting game. So it's just a bunch of people with like a squid tattoo, and now his power is squid.
Oh, God.
And it is as bad as it sounds.
Yeah.
It is if right now I said, Scott, stand next to that wall, take that bandana, turn it around, now you're a ghost. and hey, we're gonna draw a dragon on your arm. So now your power, your special
Ghost Dragon.
your special power,
I'm Ghost Dragon.
Your special power is dragon. I've actually got a few.
Sign me up.
I've got a few of their names here. AC Current. Can you imagine what his special power is?
Air conditioning.
Water.
Well, he's got a giant tattoo of a lightning bolt on his chest. I've got
Alternating current.
I've got Billy Two Moons, which is your obligatory Native American character.
Okay.
He of course has a tomahawk on his arm. We've got Derek O'Toole, which does not fit the picture. He looks like you tried to get a guy to look like your typical Bruce Lee character. He's got a
O'Toole?
I would have guessed Scott.
I would have thought too. He's got and maybe he is, but just looking at him.
Does he have a kilt?
Well, he must, because he is a rock star falsely accused of terroristic activities. And he's got a big skull on his chest. Hannah Hart, which is weird because you would think that on her she would have a heart. Mm-hmm. Nope, Black Widow. Carla Keller, which...
They called her Black Widow.
Yeah, you're kind of missing the point with some of these here. Anyways, just really freaking weird. And then, of course, because the main bad guys always had to get weird, because in Mortal Kombat, you've got like your Goro and these other mystical creatures. We got a dude that's just called Prism. And that dude looks like a prism. Literally is just pointy and crystal. And yeah, he's a sub-boss formed from crystals.
Yeah, how do you kill that?
I don't know. Put him into the sunlight. I love this time frame of video games because this is just a bunch of dudes. And when I say a bunch of dudes, this is probably 6 or fewer people taking photos of their friends and or people that they know.
Yeah, they didn't realize how big gaming was or was going to be in the entertainment industry. It's bigger than movies and music combined now.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's just the hilarity of how nonsensical this is what I love. And it came right out of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and then just there's so many of the games like this that I just absolutely love. So
I thought you could fight.
Any other? Let's wrap it up. Any other final thoughts on 1994?
I think OJ did it.
What does Norm Macdonald think?
We'll learn more next year.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Scott, what do you got? What do you got to wrap up 1994? Anything?
I'm just going to reiterate that Final Fantasy VI is the greatest video game of all time.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know what's a better game from 1994? Windjammers. It's basically Pong only with frisbees and a fighting game. It's great. It's fantastic. Look it up. You're going to love it. It's arcade. You're going to love it.
NHL 94 was the best game in 1994.
All right, I'll give you that. That's pretty good. NBA Live 95. It's coming up next year. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back next week with the continuation of 1994. We'll be getting into the movies. Gabe, what's the movie you're looking forward to from 1994?
Oh, man, it's got to be Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, that's a heck of an ordeal. I cannot believe Jim Carrey's 1994 repertoire. How is it even possible?
Nope.
Yeah.
No way could somebody do that nowadays. 3 major motion pictures.
Major.
Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, and
The Mask.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All 3 in 1994.
really impressive.
Huge hits. Scott, what do you got? Anything from 94?
Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, I got some fun stuff from Pulp Fiction. That's probably the big movie with some fun things to talk about.
What's the best Tarantino movie?
I do guilty pleasure or just like the best.
How about both?
Okay, there are two that I really, really enjoy. I love the first Kill Bill. I really love the first Kill Bill. I did not like the second Kill Bill. So as a whole, that movie is kind of blah. But I love Pulp Fiction. But I love Jackie Brown. I actually love the movie Jackie Brown.
The correct answer is yes.
Yeah, I haven't
Quentin Tarantino? Yes.
No, I haven't seen a couple of the last ones. But yeah, I don't know. What's your favorite?
It's got to be Pulp. Well, I don't know.
It's so good.
Pulp Fiction is incredible.
It's just so well done. It's just so well done. All right, well, stay tuned for next episode when we talk about how great Pulp Fiction is.
It's so good. I love it.
And how many movies Jim Carrey's in. Buchos, thank you so much.
Yes, of course.
And Gabriel Johnson, thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Always fun.
Shout out to our sponsor, Local 218. Thank you as well. Check those guys out on Mill Avenue in Brainerd. And yeah, we'll be back next week with the movies from 1994. And until then, we're done.
Well, there may be a little trouble in paradise. Lisa Marie Presley confirmed this week that she and Michael Jackson live in separate residences 50 miles away from each other. Lisa Marie was quoted as saying, "I guess being married to a homosexual pedophile wasn't such a great idea after all."
Oh, Norm Macdonald is the best. 1994. Stay tuned.